Greetings, fellow Earthlings, and welcome along to Keep Friends Close and Your Animes Closer with me, as always, your anime producer Joel.
And me, as always, your anime casting director Robert.
And I'm Curtis, your anime assistant.
Well, if I remember correctly, Curtis was the one who came in with the paperwork to get this movie across the line, and so I shoot the messenger. I blame you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I blame myself.
Yeah, I can't be blamed for the casting decisions in this movie either, because I have to answer to the director.
And we don't know
to the producer.
We don't know where he is. He's just jumped ship, gone completely.
Every movie needs a scapegoat.
Yeah,
blame it on them. Blame it on them.
And the movie that we're talking about this week is Dragon Ball Evolution. I know that it's not an anime.
I was going to say, I thought this was an anime podcast.
So we just finished watching Dragon Ball... Well, no, okay, that's a lie. We just finished watching the Freezer arc of Dragon Ball Z Kai, and we had enough of that, but we thought just a good way to round it off, just make it, like, nice and complete, would be to watch the live-action Dragon Ball movie from 2008 that is universally panned, and just, like, try and end with some positivity.
Yeah.
Just
because we were constantly against the popular view of Dragon Ball Z until now, and now we're with the crowd.
Exactly.
Universally hating on this movie.
Now we can finally be in line with everybody who disagrees with us. Because I think we're unanimous in saying that we hate this movie.
Yeah.
What? Oh! this is going to be another Bardock, Father of Goku, where we all have disagreeing. No, we're all very much in agreement. In fact, shall we do our out of Dragon Balls 7 out of 7 Dragon Ball ratings up the top?
One.
Just right away.
Absolute one or none.
I actually went out of my way to find the Grand Elder and kill him so that I could give this movie zero Dragon Balls. I went and gave this movie 1 stone Dragon Ball. That's what I did.
I think 1 is accurate.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
truly horrendous.
Shall we jump into the summary?
Yeah,
Anything to
sure.
say up front? No?
I'll say right off the bat, I'm gonna try and avoid... Because the thing about this movie is you could pull it apart with nitpicking. There are so many little things that they could have done. Like, the tiniest bit of extra effort would have improved the movie and would have been less complaint, and that's so annoying to see something that could have been so easily fixed.
What I couldn't put my finger on is what could have been made worse about this movie so that it would be better. You know what I mean? There are movies that are so bad they're good.
This is not of the room.
This is not one of those movies. It's so bad it's just bad. It's like I suppose you had a good negative scaling system that you introduced me to a while ago, where normally people rate things at 0 to 10, where 0 is just as bad as it can be and 10 is as good as it can be. But some movies actually go into the negative, and that makes them good again. Yeah. The Room is a negative 10
Yes.
Right, yeah.
It's so bad, but it's actually good.
It's the best of the worst.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This one would just be a 0.
This movie is definitely... Sorry,
right,
that is a 0.
Bad, yeah.
I don't often stop movies. I usually finish movies, but the only reason why I finished this movie was
because you had to.
Because I had to. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have stopped maybe 5 minutes in.
It's really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll do a summary and then we'll come back and loop back into the things we want to talk about.
Yeah. So we'll try not to pick it apart as I'm summarizing, I guess. So it starts off with a narration about evil Piccolo and his disciple Uzaru bringing the Earth to a brink of annihilation 2,000 years ago.
Okay, pause. Right off the bat, right out the gate, 10 seconds in, they're like, how far in? How can we fuck
the
up?
lore of Dragon Ball Z much?
Yeah.
It's such easy stuff. Easy stuff they fuck up. Anyways,
let's try and focus on the summary. Goku fighting his grandpa Gohan on tightropes. Grandpa gives him the Dragon Ball 4 as his birthday present. Goku's getting bullied at school and he refrains from fighting back because he knows he could win. Piccolo is on a flying ship, drops a firebomb on a city, and there's a woman with him who's an assassin, and we never really know who she is or why. He goes down to the ground where he's just destroyed this village, and there's a woman there that has one of the Dragon Balls. He takes it from her. Goku's daydreaming about a hot Asian girl in his class. She doesn't even know that I exist situation. He uses key to open stuck lockers for her, and we find out it's Chi-Chi. Inexplicably, he decides to take the Dragon Ball to a house party that Chi-Chi's throwing. Bullies are bullies, and they start to fight. Goku, true to his word, doesn't fight. He just avoids until they hit each other, and then he starts to hit on Chi-Chi. Gohan Gohan is... somebody attempts to assassinate Gohan. Dragon Ball is not there. Piccolo turns up and he brings his house down with telekinesis. Goku senses that something's wrong. He runs home and Gohan dies in his arms. Bulma turns up, looking for her stolen Prometheum orb. They agree to work together to find them. They find Master Roshi and they fight him. Now they've got 3 of the Dragon Balls. In 7 days, there'll be a blood moon, and that's important. Piccolo finds another Dragon Ball on the bottom of some lake that he empties with his mind. Roshi takes them all to a secret place to train, which turns out to be not so secret, because Chi-Chi's already there training. Then they fall down a hole, and then we find out that's Yamcha's trap, and he's doing his Yamcha thing. Roshi tells a story of the Uzaru being summoned during a blood moon / a solar eclipse, which are not the same thing. And then he jumps out of a hole. Yamcha joins them, and they find the next Dragon Ball across an underground lake of lava. Piccolo gives blood to new life, some sort of minions. The gang are getting attacked by those minions. The minions are growing back. I can see the blood pooling at the side of Piccolo's mouth from how much he's biting his tongue. The assassin has already beaten them to this Dragon Ball and takes the Dragon Ball, but then Goku takes it back. There is another way to stop Piccolo, apparently. Roshi asks some monks for some spell that will keep Piccolo bound. Then the assassin enters the tournament just to take some of Chi-Chi's blood. We don't know why at this stage. Bulma and Yamcha have some sort of love thing going on. Goku learns the Kamehameha from Master Roshi, and then there's a scene that's very much reminiscent of Cho Chang in the Room of Requirement from Harry Potter. Goku and Chi-Chi have a thing. Bulma sees Chi-Chi doing a walk of shame from Goku's room, and actually she's stealing the Dragon Balls because it's the assassin who, with Chi-Chi's blood, has managed to morph into her.
Pause again. Sorry. That's never addressed either. Like, it's insinuated.
Yeah,
you can only assume, but they never address it. It's never shown. It's just like the fucking production value on this picture is ridiculous. I don't know where all the money went.
Goku gets shot because yes, they're using guns in this film. Roshi Kamehamehas as a defibrillator. The baddies now have all 7 Dragon Balls. The Dragon Balls are placed, and then an underground castle is summoned to the surface, as happens when you summon Shenron. The Dragon Balls are floating in the air, and Yamcha's flying car comes in and saves the day. They interrupt the summoning of Shenron. Everybody gets buried under rock slides. Goku confronts Piccolo. I will defeat Uzaru, and Piccolo says, no, you are Uzaru. Oh my god, the eclipse starts and Goku transforms. Yamcha takes one of the balls and runs away. The Uzaru now chases and fights him and kills Roshi. And then he becomes Goku again through the power of faith. Then he kills Piccolo, and then he summons Shenron and gives life back to Roshi, not his grandpa. And then he...
I didn't even think about that! Oh my god, I didn't even think about that! Oh.
And then he fights Chi-Chi to settle who's stronger out of the 2 of them.
Oh, fuck!
And that's the end of the movie.
No, there's a post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, Piccolo is being tended to by the woman from the start of the movie whom he took the Dragon Ball from.
Fucking whatever.
I split my comments into like areas. Like I've got lots of comments about casting. I've got comments about cliches that they've overused. I've got comments about dialogue, effects.
My notes.
I've got notes under a heading that's just
yeah. You sound like you've organised your notes and I haven't, so maybe you lead the discussion again. Before we start, Curtis, any just like blanket statements?
Like what were they thinking?
I was thinking like how could this have happened? I don't know how this could have happened, and then I realized, you know what it probably was. So because this is made by 20th Century Fox, so I reckon what happened is that 20th Century Fox bought the rights for Dragon Ball, like in the 1990s or something, and then it gets to 2008, and they're like, "Fuck, we're gonna lose the rights. Fuck, we've spent like $2 million just on to getting the rights to make this movie. We got to get it out right now." James, you get in, you direct it.
You know what it is? I looked into it a little bit, and it explains a lot. It was brought on by the necessity of the writers' strike. They had no new stuff coming in that was any good to make.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, and so they went, well, we've got this.
Oh, man.
And
this
so they were forced
goodie.
to make it because they had nothing else with the writers' strike.
I did read, I skimmed the Wikipedia article before I watched the movie and then just forgot most of it. But I was reading about the writer, the guy who wrote it, because he said that
He's officially apologized
Yeah,
for it. And
right.
received death threats, apparently.
Wow.
Well, death threats are nothing nowadays.
Well, yeah.
But
These days anybody's like, oh, fuck you should die for this. And, oh, I'm receiving death
yeah, but he feels pretty bad about it, I saw.
Yeah.
But
He's apologised for it. A few of the actors in the film have they've never watched it and they've refused to let other people watch it. Like their friends and family, they're like, no, don't watch that.
it. Yeah,
Don't pretend I haven't been in it.
Because at least with, and again, I think, at least with The Room, you can kind of show this and be like, look how crazy this is. It's beyond human. Whereas this is just an obvious, and you just see it's an obvious cash grab. Yeah. There's no soul in it. There's no passion. There's a complete disregard for the source material.
What amazes me is that it still makes money. Like movies like this, they spent $30 million on this movie, and they made 57.
That's too much money.
They doubled their money.
That's bad.
From this movie. How? How does anybody who paid money to see this movie should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, so that's one thing I want to say. We didn't pay to see this. There's absolutely no way I would pay to see this.
Not a chance. Alright, let's break it down. Seeing as I'm the casting director, shall we talk about casting first? That's the first thing that comes up. Goku is a 27-year-old white Canadian guy.
And he's 18.
Playing an 18-year-old. 27-year-old Canadian guy, alright?
Well, okay, so there was one, I was a little bit like, and I'm not usually one to be like this, but I was like, they kind of whitewashed it. But again, he's supposed to be an alien, so I can have him pass as being
very much something. A Japanese show. We can all agree being that it's anime. We've got a Canadian guy playing Goku. We've got a Hong Kongese guy playing Roshi. A Korean playing Chi-Chi, Yamcha, and Gohan, all Korean. And the assassin, whom we don't even know anything about, is the
not a Dragon Ball character.
The only Japanese person. Even Piccolo is not Japanese. He's an American fella. So yeah, very much just ignoring any sort of Japanese people. Roshi really pissed me off because Roshi is over 200 years old and he's bald and he speaks like this and he's got like his spectacles on. He's played by a 55-year-old.
Yeah.
Who's like
he looks younger than...
Yeah.
Well,
I was amazed he was even 55. He looks like late 40s at most.
It's weird because when Goku and Roshi meet for the first time, he's like, my grandpa, he says, how's Gohan? He's like, you know my grandfather? He's like, I trained him. So it insinuates that he's probably older than he looks. But at least Grandpa Gohan kind of looked the part.
Yeah, Grandpa Gohan looked old. He looks like a regular... this'll... jumping around, but can Gohan in Dragon Ball Z, can Gohan fight? Is he a Z fighter?
No.
He's not in any way.
He dies before...
So when it opens with the movie, with Gohan training Goku on a tightrope, having a fight between each other.
I think Gohan trained Goku, though, right?
To fight?
Yeah.
Did he?
In Dragon Ball, the original?
Yeah, in Dragon Ball. Like, we don't see it in Dragon Ball, but it's insinuated.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We can forgive that then. Chi-Chi is 26 as well, playing a teenager. Yamcha, do you know how old Yamcha is?
50.
40. He's 40 years old. Yamcha's 40 years old and he has a thing with Bulma who's like...
I thought he was just a young Hawaiian surfer dude.
Yeah.
He really stands up there.
Yeah, he got the surfer dude part down, that's for sure. Have you got anything more to add about casting?
Yeah, so I want to talk about... So this is going to be a recurring theme in these sections, but just little things that they could have done to make it better. So you could have given Goku longer hair.
Yeah,
well, they tried to make a really big thing out of... And this is coming into a little bit of production, but they tried to make a big thing out of Goku's unique hairstyle.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit of gel in it.
Yeah.
It's not that unique.
Yeah.
And they could have had his hair be... It would be one point in time where you could forgive a wig.
Yeah, they
almost.
considered giving wigs to them apparently, but then thought, we'll just make it realistic. But then they gave like just a touch of it. They gave him spiky hair, and they gave Bulma like one streak of blue.
That was the other thing I was going to say. You could have just dyed her hair blue.
Yeah, dye her blue. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, with Goku, he just looks... He does look like a teenager. They just gel his hair. He just looks like... He's walking around with gel in his hair.
It looks like he's a hairstyle from the early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, his clothes... I didn't realise this movie was made around 2008, because it looks like early 2000s. And maybe that's just my memory. Goku himself, I don't think the guy that played him... I don't know if he was a good actor or... He didn't come across as a great actor. His body doesn't match Goku. He just looks like a skinny dude.
Yeah, it's wrong, and he's not done a hell of a lot since. Yeah, there were the effects and things. They could have just made them look. Yamcha didn't even have scars on his face.
Fucking.
It's the one thing that identified him to me when I first started this thing and didn't know anyone. I called him Scarface Goku because it's his identifying feature.
The easiest one. So these are all like human cosmetic things, right? But they've got like a full prosthetic green skin fuckface for Piccolo.
Piccolo.
No antenna.
No antenna.
It would have been the easiest, most basic thing to do.
I looked in the IMDb trivia section, and there was something that said that apparently it took 17 hours to apply Piccolo's makeup.
No.
Which it didn't. Because that's nonsense. that's patently wrong. You can't possibly have taken 17 hours to do it because then you've only got 7 hours left of the day. No, don't be ridiculous. And so eventually they were like, "Oh, get rid of this prosthetic and this and this and this," and they managed to cut it down to 4 hours to apply his makeup. And so the antenna presumably was something that just got cut.
Surely the antenna is an easy thing to do.
Yeah,
though.
just stick some antenna.
Yeah,
on.
I'm not
Jesus.
saying that he needs the
the
muscly
muscly
pink
vein
bits,
shit.
but like just
some
little,
antenna.
just something little.
Yeah.
Anyways, so just if you should look up the cast for this movie because so this is coming from a place of we didn't even particularly enjoy Dragon Ball, but we are annoyed for the people who do enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's such a huge slap in the face.
That's the thing. You go in and the first thing is they describe the backstory and it's all wrong and made up and it's did they make the movie? Did the person who wrote the screenplay did he just watch an episode of Dragon Ball?
I feel like he did. I feel like he just had like a list of keywords.
Right. Yeah.
Like he had all the character names.
names.
Yeah. Because they do the same thing that fucking Lord Slug did, where they call them Namekians.
Yeah.
Like so he didn't even see the word Namekian. He was like Piccolo, and then it was like dash Namek.
Except that they're all evil as well.
Oh yeah, they're all
the
evil.
entire race of Nameks is evil, and they'll
wrong.
come to destroy
Goku doesn't ever have a tail. The Uzaru is a normal human size.
Yeah, normal human. He's a wolfman. He's effectively just like
he looks like a wolfman.
Werewolf. Anyway, cliches. The ones that I wrote down. We've got overly confident bully picking on a non-victim. I hate that. This is one of the reasons I hate any sort of high school dramas because they've always got this shit in there.
Yeah.
Bullies pick on particular people.
Yeah.
People who victimize them. People who look like they're the right target for victims and stuff. And Gohan is not that. He's confident. He strolls in. And he's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
As soon as you stand up to bullies in that way, the vast majority of them leave you alone.
Yeah.
And especially if you've just witnessed your entire bully crew just get wasted.
Yeah.
With Goku not even trying, you wouldn't pick up a metal bar and start trying to hammer him.
And then he's doing the retard thing of just he's like swinging and he's smashing up his own car.
Yeah.
It's
very, very cliche.
So
you see any sort of bully scene, it's always this bullshit.
With casting, those bullies looked maybe like 30.
They did.
Yeah.
They look very old.
I'm not sure why we needed bullies, but
no, this all again ties into like art direction and tone. The tone is so different from Dragon Ball. It's again okay. So last time we'll bring it up. The tone is so different. It's crazy. It's like not another teen movie in this place. And then the art direction, like. So if you look at Dragon Ball, you can see that it's clearly semi-futuristic, and in this they half committed to it. I mean, people are still driving normal cars and stuff, but they don't wear crazy clothes. It looks like the 2000s if we had video messaging in the 2000s. That's the only real thing that's different.
They've got the capsule bike, which I quite liked.
It doesn't look like a capsule. She doesn't throw a capsule down though. That's another thing. She could have.
I know.
She could have.
They could have done a capsule.
It could have just been a fucking capsule.
It was all CG anyway. Why not just make it a capsule?
Exactly.
That's like throughout the film. It's like, where does Goku live? Like, should we put him in a forest? No, just put him
just outside town.
Yeah, just outside town.
You mentioned when you read those interviews with Akira Toriyama that he was like, he's an urban guy because who knows what's happening out there.
Yeah,
Maybe there's guys who can fly and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't stick him now in
I'm a high school kid.
Yeah, I'm a high schooler. Make it into a high school drama with 20-some-year-olds.
The thing I liked with the bullies is, so Goku is riding his bike to school, parks his bike, the bullies come in their car, run over his bike, and then just hop out, like, as if nothing happened. Like, they don't even care about their own car.
Their own car being smashed into by a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cliche bullies. Daydreaming in class and called on by the teacher. The teacher makes fun of him for knowing the right answer. That's all very much cliche we see in high school dramas. A bad thing happening on his birthday.
Yeah.
That's very much a cliche.
Can I, the hot girl who is really empathetic with the victim and is with the
and
jock
somehow is still with the bully
for like seemingly no reason, and then drops the bully at the drop of a hat. There's one thing that really annoyed me about Chi-Chi. So Chi-Chi is dating one of Goku's bullies, and so she sees Goku getting bullied, and she does it like, I'm sorry. Like mouths the word like, oh,
I'm still gonna bone him though.
Yeah, she's with the bullies up until the point where Goku beats the shit out of them.
And then she's like, "Ooh, Goku's now really hard."
Exactly, it makes her look like a dumb floozy.
Yeah. Bad thing happening on his birthday. Somebody dying in your arms. That's very cliche. Some getting into a fight, like because Chi-Chi and Bulma and Goku walk into Roshi's house trying to find him. And then they get caught sneaking into his house, and Roshi starts to fight them, and they fight. And then after the battle, when he's about to kick his ass, he goes, "Oh wait, you're Master Roshi? You're the one we're looking for? Yeah, of course it is. That sort of shit happens all the time." Yeah. You broke into Master Roshi's house, who you know to be a fighter, don't you, by now? And
another little tiny thing that they could have done. So they go to Kame House, and it's like a dilapidated apartment building instead of being a little thing on an island.
Yeah, on an island.
And it's kind of on an island, but like that geography of that didn't make no sense.
There's no mention of turtle or anything. Apparently they wanted to just cut out any sort of anthropomorphic animals and stuff as well. So
is that just budget reasons?
Must be.
Why not just do it on an island?
Just have a little island. Yeah.
You've got what they did in Dragon Ball. Just put them on an island.
Put them on an island. Don't even have to have a turtle.
Even if you're committed to not being rural and just being in an urban environment now,
on the lake.
You still have people living out on lakes within the city and stuff. It's like like the mini islands that are around in places like San Francisco and stuff. They've always got little islands. Anyway, Yamcha and Bulma have an interrupted kiss right as they're about to touch lips. Something interrupts them.
That's so underdeveloped. Yamcha fucking sets a trap, and Yamcha sets a trap, and then they fall into it, and they're sitting there for 8 hours while they just twiddle their thumbs, and the blood moon is coming.
And we find out that Roshi could jump out at any time.
The whole time!
Instead, they're in a very critical time period, and he sits down and tells them a story instead of getting them out of the hole.
And he doesn't tell them a story for 8 hours. 8 hours, presumably, they do nothing.
And then he jumps out in the end and he says, "We don't have much
time."
You fucking less now, you son of a bitch. Goku becoming transforming into an evil monster, and then the characters saying, "Goku, believe in yourself. Deep down, you're still you." That sort of bullshit happens all the time in things like this. The assassin has a clean shot on one of the characters at one point, and she stops and pauses, and then she gets Deus Ex shot in the back. And then finally, to round off all the cliches, when Roshi comes back to life, his first line is, "Oh, I just had the strangest dream."
Fuck you. Just push him off the cliff.
So Goku just blasts him in the face again. Nah. Should have brought back my granddad instead. Alright, under dialogue, I have all of it.
Yeah, we can't talk about the dialogue. It's horrific. It's truly bad.
Yeah, Chi-Chi at one point says, "Oh, I heard about your grandfather's accident." This is the next day. From who did you hear about his grandfather's accident?
The house collapsed?
Roshi says, greets the monks with Namaste, which means that they're now Hindu. So those are Hindu monks.
Yeah.
And this is set in Japan, is it? Or China? Or what? I don't know.
That's one thing that we brushed over. So instead of the Dragon Balls being created by Kame or the Kame, they're just apparently a part of Earth. And they try to add this sci-fi element where they're called Promethean balls or whatever the fuck. And then Piccolo wants to take the Dragon Ball, so they seal him away with magic, which is just not it. And then when he teaches Goku the Kamehameha, it is just a multi-purpose unit. It's like a Swiss Army tool. It can put out candles, turn on candles, and it can also resuscitate people's hearts.
Yeah, it's just an everything. But it is the last. What was it? The highest level airbending technique.
Oh, that's
Shall we talk about airbending?
I forgot
Should we
about
talk
that.
about how this movie just becomes a fucking Avatar movie and starts talking about airbending and firebending and waterbending? Not earthbending, though.
Right.
He says the three elements.
Oh my god.
What the fuck are you doing? Did you forget what movie you were making?
I think that's what happened.
That was so crazy.
Alright, so let's talk this out. Roshi says to Goku, I'm going to train you. I'm going to train you in the three the three elements techniques: the waterbending, firebending, and airbending,
which is just
ignoring
crazy.
Earth. Every culture throughout time knows that there's been four
least four.
classical elements.
Holy
Some people
fuck.
often come up with metal and
Other
plasma
stuff.
and other stuff, but there's always those four. So just ignore one of them. That's
my God.
astounding. And then he never actually talks about waterbending or firebending ever
again.
He talks about airbending. He trains him in the Kamehameha, which is apparently a powerful airbending technique.
Can
And
turn
then he
candles
uses
on.
it to light candles. What the fuck
my
is this
God.
movie? Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God, so much bad. In that candle lighting, that entire scene I have down as poor dialogue, because Chi-Chi and him are like, oh, if you light it, for every candle you light, you can take a step closer to me and then we'll kiss.
Yeah, awful stuff.
I was just thinking of awful dialogue. The start of the film opens up with the first rule is there are no rules, and like if that's your premise for the film, if that's what you're building it on, it's the most weakest foundation because it just contradicts itself right away. And
that should have been in a cliche as well. The amount of times that bullshit line is used.
Right, and then like I think at the end he's facing off with Piccolo, and he's like, "My grandpa taught me something. The first rule is there are no rules," and it's supposed to be meaningful and impactful, and he's talking gibberish.
Yeah.
Like,
And he also in that same scene he says, "I must have faith in who I am.
have faith in who I am.
Faith in
I
who I
am
am."
Goku.
That mantra is what brings him out of Uzaru and back into himself. I must have faith in who I am. The Uzaru is part of me. Which brings up the question, who the fuck was the Uzaru 2,000 years ago?
Right?
Piccolo's disciple, who apparently was with him when he almost brought the world to annihilation.
So when Piccolo, when he's like, I'm gonna kill Uzaru, Piccolo goes, you are Uzaru. He's like, what? And he goes, I sent you from Earth. How did you send him from Earth 18 years ago if you were underground? Or we never see how Piccolo
How did
escapes.
Piccolo escape?
Never mentioned.
They didn't mention.
We also learned that in the narration at the beginning, we learned that Piccolo was only defeated because 5 monks put their power together to they like sacrificed their own lives so that the energy from their lives was enough to trap Piccolo. And this time Roshi goes to these monks, these Hindu monks apparently, even though they're played by black American actors, and he says, I need that spell again. And 7 of them sit around a table and they just make like an urn that has this spell in it, and none of them are dying.
What's like the archetype of like the old man or like the master, like Gandalf or whatever. This movie has Gohan, Master Roshi, and Master Roshi's master.
Very, very bad. Another dialogue instance was when he arrives at Master Roshi's house and then they fight and he says something about Gohan and he goes, you knew my grandfather? Your grandfather said, go find Master Roshi.
Yeah.
So they know each other.
This movie is a complete mess of confused and conflicting ideas, too many plot threads and like design ideologies, I guess, because they try to involve airbending, key energy.
Yeah, they're bringing in all sorts of
science fiction, future vision and prophecies.
They're bringing in Tai Chi and they're bringing in all these other
it's
all
just
these other ideologies.
Dragon Ball energy.
The Dragon Balls have energy, and not only that, they're actually crystal balls as well as Dragon Balls. Yeah. Because anytime Goku looks into them, he sees like a prophecy within them.
There was that literal moment where Master Roshi grabs the Dragon Balls rolling across the ground and he picks it up with a sheet and covers it. It's like, oh yeah, Lord of the Rings happened years
Lord of the
earlier.
Rings did that.
I don't know where you got that from. Yeah.
The Dragon Balls don't spread across the entire world. It's just across whatever fucking continent they're supposed to be on. And they're really close together.
I tell you what, they were true to the movies, in how easy their Dragon Balls are to collect.
Yeah.
Because Gohan has spent his whole life just with this Dragon Ball 4, not knowing where the others are. And then within like a week... Oh, not a week, maybe a month, maybe a week. We don't know, because the times are inconsistent. He looks up at the start of the movie, right before Grandpa Gohan dies, and he sees a full moon.
Yeah.
Which means that the solar eclipse can't happen on full moon, it happens on a new moon.
Yeah.
Which is exactly 2 weeks away. So 2 weeks, we know it to be 2 weeks away. And then the next day, Roshi says in 7 days there'll be a blood moon solar eclipse. So they've already jumped 7 days in a day. And then the very next day after that, it's now 2 days away. So they've jumped 2 weeks in 2 days. It's all messed up.
What was Piccolo's wish going to be?
Because Piccolo is... Okay, so Piccolo has an airship.
And why does he fly?
No, not just... He has an airship, right? And Piccolo has enough power where he does this weird thing where he Hiroshimas places. He just drops firebombs and evaporates lakes.
Yeah.
He destroys towns, but like not the structures.
He
just burns them up a little bit.
He's got the telekinesis at the start to crush Roshi's house, but he doesn't have it at the end when his Dragon Balls roll off the podium.
Yeah.
He can't get them back and he's stretching out.
He's incredibly powerful. He could just go around dropping those firebombs, just nuking us from the
But
air.
he needs the wish in order to rule the world or something.
To do what?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's never clear. I wanted to bring up as well, we've kind of glossed over it. He has, like, a disciple or somebody who's following him. They have no lines.
Yeah, the assassin.
They're not a character from Dragon Ball, I don't think. And they just do stuff.
Yeah.
They just do some things.
They do things that Piccolo could be doing.
Yeah. And then we would have development for Piccolo.
Yeah, they turn up in scenes to like grab the Dragon Ball.
Would have
and run
been
off.
way funnier if Piccolo disguised as Chi-Chi and kissed Goku.
That would be great.
That would have been fantastic. It's a missed opportunity.
Why there was that one moment where this lady,
Because they could have gone so campy with it. Oh,
they could have got great with it. There's that one moment where Goku retrieves the Dragon Ball when they're over the lake of lava, and he grabs it, and then she just jumps out of nowhere.
Yep, she beat into it.
Yeah,
to this underground lake of lava.
Yeah, it starts fighting him. Goku takes care of her. Back to the gang. Like, it was just like, it meant nothing. Like, there was no reason.
I can see exactly why they put it in there, and it's just for the one shot where she punches Goku in the face with all her might, and he just doesn't move, and his face is a bit squished from her fist, and then he just like punches her and she disappears.
Right.
I think that was just to be like, oh look how strong Goku is, he can take a punch. I think I can only think that shot alone is why they put her fighting in there.
Yeah.
But did you catch the tongue-in-cheek, self-referential dialogue at the beginning when he says something about Goku says to Bulma something about harnessing Dragon Ball energy, and she goes, Dragon Ball energy? DBE. Catchy name.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. That's fucking retarded. I can't believe they just did that.
Catchy name.
She made a Dragon Ball Raider without having a Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So she she also, if you have a Dragon Ball Raider and she's like, oh, there's more than one. I don't know, man. This movie is a mess. We need to start wrapping this up. We're starting to.
I've got one line that I really liked, and it's when Goku meets Bulma, and he's like, wow, you must be really smart to have made that. And she says, I have a PhD in applied dynamics with a minor in tactical weaponry. What school are you going to?
What university is offering tactical weaponry?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so let's try and... Oh, the minions. Shall we talk about the minions that Piccolo uses his blood to make? So there's a scene, he's like, I don't know why he does it. I think he's like not succeeding on his plan as quickly as he'd like or something. And so he sits down in a chair and gets some injections that suck his blood out in order to make like a... It's very much like the old Power Rangers where the evil lady makes some clay monsters out of whatever and sends them down to fight. Piccolo just makes these minions out of his own blood somehow and then they just beat Goku to this lake of lava and they're there. And every time he cuts them in half, they both halves split back into like two full-grown ones now, and he's fighting more of them. And then eventually he decides, wait, this is the way across the lava, and he cuts them into pieces deliberately so that they'll grow into more bodies that he can throw into the lava. And let's ignore all of the properties of lava and how Goku would have just spontaneously combusted, being anywhere close to that much lava.
Touch the body and just fall right in. I feel like that's like the director seeing like a picture of Cybermen from Dragon Ball Z and being like, fucking gotta get these guys in there.
They look green. Piccolo's green.
Blood magic's a thing, right?
Yeah. Also, Rita Repulsa is her name. Evil lady from Power Rangers. That was really bothering me, so I dipped out of the podcast for a second to look it up.
Oh man.
Rita Repulsa.
So let's talk about the assassin's plan, because somehow she knows ahead of time that Chi-Chi will be important to getting the Dragon Balls that Goku's already found. She knows that somehow Chi-Chi will sleep with Goku and Goku will drop his guard. So ahead of time, she goes and enrolls in a tournament, a fighting tournament, which will be watched by thousands of people, so that she can sneakily cut Chi-Chi's arm and take some blood, so that then she can turn into
a really inefficient way.
You could have just ambushed her at any time to get some blood.
That was the most milquetoast version of the Grand Tournament.
Yeah.
That was the worst reference. Because the Grand Tournament, we don't really get to see it in what we've seen of Dragon Ball Z, but it's like a big concrete platform and it has ring outs and it's just, man, this movie it's starting to bum me out with the lack of any kind of care. Honestly, there are thousands and thousands of little tiny things that they could have done to either make it worse and therefore better, or just make it better. Just make it more true to the source material. Like, they changed things seemingly unnecessary. I know that you said that they changed Piccolo stuff for time. I can understand that. But fuck me, man.
Who are they targeting?
No one.
You know, like, definitely not Dragon Ball Z fans. Definitely not just
I look at movies like this and I think there's got to be money laundering going on. There's got to be something that they know that this is going to flop. In the what's it called? That
the producers?
The producers way. It's got to be something like that, right? Yeah. They can't be making this thinking it's going to be good and people are going to enjoy it. Anyway,
I feel like the last scene where Goku puts on his outfit.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like where they were like, this is where we're going to get our trailer shots from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, this is what we're going to advertise because people will feel like this is like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But that's like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets on his orange robe and he does it up and he's all Goku in appearance except for having no muscles at all. And then he turns into an Uzaru and the robe like splits open and then he turns back into Goku and it's all done up again. It's all nice. There you go. Should we talk about Bulma as well? How she in this is a badass gunslinger and not a whiny baby? Is she like that in Dragon Ball? Is she a badass?
Because she's read more of Dragon Ball than I have.
I feel like she's just a whiny adventurer who's looking for Dragon Balls so that she can wish for a boyfriend, like, than Dragon Ball. So I feel like they added like a Tomb Raider aspect to this Bulma.
Yeah, she was, very much Tomb Raider. That's a good analogy. She's very much a Lara Croft as she's just jumping around corners and throwing herself around, and she's got these like laser guns.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shenron can't be summoned just anywhere. Once Piccolo's got the balls, he needs to go to a specific location to place the balls on the ground, which then summons up like a dragon castle.
Not only that, but he places the Dragon Balls and then they interrupt him, and then when they use them, I don't know, 10 minutes later, it's instantaneous.
Yeah.
We need to stop because this can't be like. There's not even anything interesting to say about it at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yes,
it's off the.
I have a section called True to Dragon Ball Z.
Okay,
nice.
Okay, we'll do that.
Before watching the film, I made a load of sections that I knew would come up. I've put inconsistent with Dragon Ball Z, and that's full. I've got True to Dragon Ball Z, and then I've got Better than Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
nice.
Which is empty.
Oh,
the entire film went by with me not being able to put anything in that category. True to Dragon Ball Z though, they don't. Master Roshi or Gohan, one of them tells him, it's Gohan right at the start of the movie, he tells him, don't rely on your senses to fight. You need to rely on other things. That's very much a Dragon Ball Z thing, comes up a lot of the time. Goku avoiding being hit and making opponents hit each other, that comes up a lot in DBZ. Goku eating, he makes a point of like eating like a little big chicken legs or something at the start of the movie, and that's very much a Goku trait. Roshi being a little bit of a pervert, he's got Bikini Quadley around and he grabs Bulma's ass. They could have made more of it, I think, for the amount that it makes of it in DBZ. Yamcha's voice just being a surfer bro, and then Goku being the Uzaru. I thought that they were going to miss that initially with the narration at the start. I genuinely thought they were just going to make Uzaru just like a different being.
Because he doesn't have a tail.
He doesn't have a tail. He obeys Piccolo once he turns into Uzaru. He's not like a mindless ape killing machine. He's a demon with a Goku shell that's dormant until his 18th birthday rather than happening every full moon. And he's only like 7 foot tall.
I have some things that were similar about Dragon Ball Z. I feel like the Ozaru thing, like they touched on it with like Goku having to control his Ozaru form, which he couldn't do when he was younger. I don't know. I think they've done that in movies as well. And another thing was when Goku is like learning these things and getting his ki up while he's versing Piccolo. Piccolo just stands and watches, which I thought was very Dragon Ball
True.
Z.
True. That's a good point. Yeah. So, did you have any senzu beans? Anything you liked about the movie?
I didn't even think about that.
I have one, and how minor it is will tell you what I didn't like. Right at the start of the movie, Goku is planning on going to Chi-Chi's house party, and he gels his hair right back, slicks it back, and then it pops back up into the Goku hair.
That annoyed me because
that's a Goku thing.
You're this is not taking away from your senzu bean, but personally that annoyed me because there's not that much difference. His hair is not that long.
I just liked that they were making a point of the fact that Goku's hair is always the same, regardless of if he's in the middle of a fight or anything. Like at one point, he's avoiding the bully who's smashing up his own car, trying to hit him, and he does a head slide across the car's bonnet, and his hair's still fine afterwards.
Very blue ear gel that flicks back up onto her. That was very blue.
You go.
Any senzu bean? Did you like anything about it? Anything that would...
No, I wanted to stop watching it pretty quick. Can I just, the introduction is just... It's like, oh... I can see where they're going, and I'm not interested. So you've got the setup about the history of the world. Why was it 2,000 years ago?
Yeah, well,
is that some weird Christian thing? They're
yeah, I did wonder whether it was religious ideology.
Yeah,
symbology.
So it's nothing like the show, and you're okay. And then it's how do you want to start the film? Let's zoom in right up to a nose with a bit of sweat just dripping down, and we'll follow that sweat as it hits the ground, and we'll get some more slow panning action of just a sweaty face, and then you just have this normal teenager dude who's nothing special, balancing on ropes, gets his ass beat by an old man. He's not likable.
No.
And he whines to his granddad about and this is why I thought it was really stupid, is because he starts whining. He's like, I don't feel normal. I feel different. Can't you teach me how to talk to girls? Can't you teach me? And
hey Grandpa, can you give me advice on dating?
yeah. I heard you were a hot young stud and you're there. So it's just why did they take Dragon Ball Z and go, that's not relatable to anyone? Let's make him a high school student who's struggling to fit in and wants to date girls.
All boys can relate to that.
It just seemed it seemed an odd material source to go from, to do that with it, to turn it into High School Musical or whatever. Twilight, I suppose.
So that was your sensu bean moment.
Yeah, that's not really a sensu bean. So I don't think I've got a sensu bean moment because I just didn't. I wanted to stop watching
unprecedented. I am racking my brains to think if because the fight scenes aren't even that impressive. They're not that well choreographed.
I got a sensu bean moment. It's when Piccolo is in his metal blimp or whatever.
True.
Because it's just what the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. I guess he has an airship.
Oh, Piccolo has...
That's such a weird
Piccolo
thing.
has a Zeppelin.
That's such a weird thing. Damn, that's pretty good.
Nazis had Zeppelins.
Yeah.
Evil. 2,000 years ago. Christianity.
Yeah. You know how many people were killed when the Hindenburg exploded? All that shit's evil.
I think my sensu bean moment is actually the post-credits scene. Because I knew there would be one. I got to the end.
I thought there would be one, and so I got to the credits. It started. I skipped forward a little bit and didn't see one, and I was like, oh. And then I went on IMDb and heard that there was one.
It's in between. You know how they do the
mid-credits scene, rather than post.
Mid-credits scene. So the mid-credits scene is some Asian woman walks into a room and there's a body sleeping in a bed, and I was like, Piccolo.
That's Piccolo.
That's Piccolo, and then.
Because we don't see him disintegrate.
Yeah. Because that's not... he just punches him hard. Piccolo falls over and he leaves him.
Yeah, he uses a Kamehameha blast and flies along with it and hits Piccolo and he just dies.
Anyway, so there's a body lying in a bed and the Asian lady brings in some tea, and then Piccolo does the thing where you wake up and you're surprised to see somebody. It was just bizarre. It was just the most bizarre setup for a sequel. and that kind of made me like it's my seems to be moment because I'm like, oh, you guys thought you'd get a sequel.
It's pretty optimistic. They definitely thought there was going to be a sequel apparently until it was panned, and they were like, let's not do that.
It's like that's optimistic of you guys.
I think we should hire writers next time.
Save some money.
So,
you mentioned briefly about art direction, but I think that's like just a quick topic we could talk about.
Can you come closer to the mic?
Yes, sorry. So like art direction, I feel like I can't remember what special effects and things were like back in 2009.
Better than that.
But yeah, better than that. Not going from the source material, just making up your own Kamehameha blasts. It was like, it reminded me of like wishy-washy, like quick, dirty Photoshop, like laser effects, and like the blast weren't blasts, they were just balls of energy or balls of light.
Yeah, like a heat wave, sort of. It just distorts the image behind it.
So I thought that was really tacky the way they did that. Like the Kamehameha blast never felt like a Kamehameha blast.
No, it never had a full like. It was never a ball on the end of a beam that's projecting from his hands.
Yeah. It just felt really weakly done, and also like I never got a sense of like where they were.
No.
Like the backgrounds, I can't tell where it was set. I think there was Goku's house is a normal house in a weird Japanese fieldish but American California colors.
They definitely are in like an American high school.
Yeah, American high school for sure.
But with Japanese influences and not done in a good way. Like Big Hero 6 did that in a really good way, like a blending of the two cultures.
Yeah, they did.
This did not.
No.
It was just like, oh, is he now in Japan?
Yeah, he's just jumping from place to place.
Namaste. Oh, he's in India. Oh, I see.
The contradictions. There's this moment where like a lot of green screen, a lot of tacky green screen. Bulma's riding the bike and she like turns the bike like this, and they just like rotate her on like the background. It just look.
Is that when he's doing a one-handed handstand?
Yeah. I just never got a sense of where they were, which I think is really important. And they were like traveling places, and I had no idea where they were coming from or going to.
Yeah.
Why did they travel on this motorbike from Roshi's house to the secret underground, or like the secret fighting place through like a desert?
Yeah.
But like she goes to his high school. He meets Chi-Chi there, and she goes to his high school.
How long is her commute?
Yeah, like
she lives this far out.
Or is there just a desert, like a really tiny desert between that they have to travel through?
Yeah, a lot of cities build like a central park.
Yeah.
This one built like a central desert.
Central desert, nice. So yeah, I just couldn't get a sense of where they were. It just felt very heavy, bad green screen.
The location scout was just like, oh, this would be a cool shot for a scene, and like not working out where it would fit in. They're just like, oh, look how cool that background looks with the rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's set something here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically in summary, the direction, bad. The casting, bad. Special effects, bad. Audio, bad. Writing, bad. Soundtrack, bad.
Casting, I don't know if you mentioned that. Just everything. Just so many things were wrong with this movie. But not enough to make it goodly bad. What is the difference? Can we analyse that? What's the difference between The Room and this?
So, I mean, I think the difference... I've listened to somebody talk really passionately about this. I can't remember who it was now. The difference between movies like The Room or Troll 2 is passion.
Right.
Like, Tommy Wiseau, and I can't remember the name of the director of Troll 2, but they genuinely believed that they were making good movies. Tommy was more so than the other guy. But they are passionate, they think what they're doing is awesome, and so you can feel the love that went into it, and it's just not paying off in the way that they expected. This is just an obvious cash grab. Yeah. They don't give a fuck. They're just like, this will make money no matter what we do. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And so it's awful. There's a movie company called Asylum Films.
Is that the one that does deliberately bad films?
Sharknado.
No. They do the spoofs on films.
Yeah, so like Sharknado is by Sci-Fi Channel, I think.
Okay.
But they like Transformers comes out, they do Transmorphers.
Right. Yeah,
Indiana Jones comes out, they do Alan Quatermain and the Kingdom of the like crystalline ribcage, and it's like slightly off. There's Terminators, they have like Otters and but that would actually be funny.
That'd be pretty good.
I've only seen one Asylum film, and I watched it with my ex, and she really liked bad films. I got physical pain in my arms and legs when I was watching it. I was so tense. That is a painful movie to watch. Because it is toxically bad.
Really bad, and they know that it's bad. And they don't have passion for trying to make it.
So maybe this isn't a 0. That is a hard 0.
Right,
this is more like a 1 or a 2, I think.
Yeah, because they've tried to make something, I suppose.
Yeah, they kind of try in a couple places. In Giant Shark vs. Mega Octopus by Asylum Films, they use the exact same set, which looks like a fucking laundromat. They change the lighting, and it's 3 different places.
Just from the lighting. They just change lighting. It's a laboratory, it's a submarine, and it's an army base. And it's the same shot, the same angle, and it is the most frustrating thing I've ever had to sit through. They have CG for the giant shark and the giant octopus, and they probably got like some uni student to do it for like $20. They use the exact same 6 seconds of the shark and the octopus swimming.
Oh, wow.
Reversed, like literally reversed the footage so that it's swimming backwards, flipped it, slowed it down, sped it up. It's insanity. So that is a hard 0. This is like a 1. This is bad.
-1?
Nah, because I didn't enjoy this. -1, you'd be like, I can maybe it's a -1 to a 1, but it's not as hard 0 as an Asylum film.
I like that description, the passion idea. Because watching The Room, you can feel it. It's like you're watching.
At least you can feel it coming from Tommy.
Yeah, and you're watching something happen. That's like it's too bad to be like made up. Like it's great. And it's not wasting your time. No. These movies are wasting your time. They know that it's cheap. They know it's going to make money back.
Do you reckon there's anything to do with the budget then? Because this studio had $30 million to spend on it, and I don't know how much The Room cost, but it wasn't that. It's like a low budget thing. No,
because I would say Grown Ups 2. See, okay, no offense actually maybe offense if you like Grown Ups 2. I'm not a fan of Adam Sandler's more recent stuff because he's legit just cash grabbing at this point. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just. I haven't seen the Netflix one that's apparently like the worst thing ever. But Grown Ups 2, if you listen to the Worst Idea of All Time. They watched that every week, once a week for a year. That is in the negatives, but it's pretty good, and they had a really high budget.
Right.
That is so bizarrely bad that it's not a 10, negative 10, but it's got some pretty good moments where it's just like, what are you doing right now? Like, I understand what you're doing, but why are you doing it?
Yeah.
There's just people just like ladies just like pushing their boobs, like, oh, my boobs, I don't know, oh, I'm a mum now, and so I don't know if my boobs will still be big and perky, and it's like, is this actually aimed at kids? Is it?
Right.
It's bizarre. So, budget, I think budget does, no, because the Asylum films have a really low budget as well. They purposely, they make them for like $5,000, and they make $100,000 because people like them because they're a gimmick. I don't know.
I don't know if I think Dragon Ball Z is like a hard thing to make into a film. Like it's a hard, like it's hard to make into a real life film, especially like with budget because it's like heavy effects, kind of.
So let's talk about that just briefly then. You are now brought on as the director, and you can't quit.
I'm the director
of a live action live action adaptation of Dragon Ball Z. Or Dragon Ball, which
there's an important distinction because this
one was kind of in between, right?
It should have been Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
because the Kamehameha comes in towards the end of Dragon Ball.
I felt like watching it. I felt like it slotted in before Dragon Ball Z.
It is
and
before
after Dragon Ball.
No. It's supposed to be a retelling of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From when he's like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just switched elements around. So like Goku went into his giant ape form and killed his grandpa. This time it's Piccolo that kills his grandpa.
And he kills Roshi. When he goes into his Uzaru, he kills Roshi instead of his granddad.
Right. Who's that, sorry?
Goku. In this atrocity that we just watched. When he goes Uzaru, he kills Roshi.
Oh, right, yeah.
And instead of going Uzaru and killing his grandpa.
Right, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And then it's like, and it's Bulma joins up with Goku and they go and search for the Dragon Balls. Except
he's a rascal.
So what do you change? Go.
Am I doing Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
you are retelling.
Wait, if we say like make one change.
Yeah, okay.
So
Like one change
what's
to
the
this
one
movie
change?
to make it better.
Or to this movie.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
If I could change one thing about this movie, and I think it would actually make it better, I would remove and this is a pretty big change, and I'm hoping that I just like looking at this as a
Fit it
catch-all.
into one.
Yeah, remove all of the spiritual elements. So removing ki, air and earth, and whatever the fuck bending, and the blasts, because Dragon Ball is martial arts.
Right.
Manga, and they don't introduce all the ki blasts and stuff until quite late in the series. I think it would have worked. There would have been less things to be frustrated with if it was purely a martial arts movie.
Yeah.
So that's what I would change. I would remove all of the special, and then that also means less budget on special effects.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I would cast someone different for Goku.
That's your big change? Who would you cast?
Well, I was thinking
Jackie
like
Chan.
if it was Dragon Ball Z, I would just go to like a gym and find a buff guy and be like, "You're Goku,"
Yeah.
and because
You got the hair for it.
yeah,
Cut to Jim. There's a guy close up. He's working out. He's doing curls, and then he lifts the dumbbell up, and then when the dumbbell comes down, you see like Curtis wearing a trench coat sitting at the back of the gym. And then he's in the showers, and he comes out with just like a towel around his shoulders, and his dick's out.
Yeah.
And you just get like shot of his butt. Curtis is like takes a long drag from
I
a
do have a
cigarette.
cigarette, yeah, and I throw it on the ground and then put it out, and I slowly look up at him and I say, "You've got the stuff."
And then there's a movie in and of itself.
But if it is more of a Dragon Ball story, I would cast a kid, like 13-year-old kid, and give him a tail and make him look like Goku from the Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And not give him a grandpa.
Yeah.
Because Gohan's dead.
Yeah. Alright, I think, change... I'd remove the high school. I'd remove everything to do with him being like a high school kid. I'd remove all... I'd just set it as a purely urban... a purely rural story.
Yeah.
Remove the bullies and the high school drama shit and just go that route. I think that would help.
By our three changes combined.
I legitimately think that those 3 changes would have made a much bigger
Several points.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, let's round this off then. I'll tell you guys some things I learned from IMDb. The actor who played Piccolo, did you recognize him at all?
Is it Dolph Lundgren?
He's the no.
Is he Hellboy?
No.
Oh, okay.
So the guy who plays Piccolo is the guy who plays the vampire Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I did recognize him once I saw him without the makeup. This film, they decided that they would keep the number of characters to an absolute minimum. They said, which is why they didn't have Uzaru and Krillin and
Oolong,
Oolong and Krillin and any of the other iconic characters, Tien and Chelsea and stuff. But then I said, well, if we get the characters to a minimum, why did you include the assassin lady and a whole gang of school bullies and a brethren of monks? But whatever. I already mentioned at the start that the writers received death threats for this movie, and has officially apologised. To prep for her role, Bulma apparently read all of the manga and watched the entire series.
Holy shit!
How did you get it so wrong? if you did that to prepare?
Well, that's the director's fault at that point. The actors have just put the time in.
And finally, this film was not screened for critics.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you want to bet?
Yeah. Well. If you're on IMDb looking at this terrible movie, might I suggest you look at a different movie to look at?
After you downvote.
After you downvote this, give it a negative score, make sure nobody watches it. This is, okay, if we haven't made it clear enough, do not watch this movie. This isn't a movie that you can hate watch as a have a fun time. Don't watch this movie. Do watch.
Your time is better spent listening to this podcast, and then you've just watched the movie. You don't need to watch the movie.
Skip along to Studio Ghibli's Grave of the Fireflies. It's one of their lesser known ones. It's not made by Hayao Miyazaki, who is just the anime grandpappy for movies. I'm actually not sure.
The anime grandpa Gohan. I can't remember who the director is, I'm sorry, but it is a anime movie about post-World War II Japan, and it follows the story of 2 children who are orphaned during one of the firebombing raids that happened in Japan. And it is a very good...
it's historically accurate, and it shows you it gives you a really good picture of what Japanese life was like post World War II for Japanese people who didn't really understand what was going on, and a lot of them genuinely did not think that there was any way that Japan could lose. And so it deals with like people having to come to terms with like losing the honor of their country, and orphans having to live without parents. It's a horribly sad movie, very tonally different from all of the other Ghibli films, because all the other Ghibli films are kind of like, oh, there's a little magical element in it. Oh, it's cute. Oh, even the ones that are more realistic have more pleasant elements to them. But this one it's pretty gut wrenching. Has a very sad ending, so it's a sad movie. Get your tissue box out. But definitely worth your time. Not scary, so Robert can watch this one. And
what was it called again?
So this one's called Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Does it have an evil guy on an evil airship?
It doesn't. Oh, unless you think Americans are evil, but they're not on an airship. They're on planes.
It's looking for an airship.
They do drop some firebombs on.
If you're looking for an airship, I could recommend a different movie. But then I run out of movies to recommend.
Yeah.
I tried to watch another movie last night, so they had not a Ghibli film to recommend, but I can recommend popular things every now and then.
Yeah.
But I tried to watch a movie and I stopped watching it halfway through. So
What movie?
it's called The Skycrawlers. It's just very slow paced,
Yeah.
and I didn't like it.
Joel recommends against.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's worth talking about that much. It's got a reasonable rating on Mal. I've heard lots of good things about it. It deals with themes of immortality and war and love and suicide. It takes over an hour to get to any of that. It's one of those movies that tries to be artistic by slowing down the pacing to a snail's pace, so that you're left wondering, but there's nothing to keep your attention. And then when it finally does address the things, it's like, you could have done this better.
So it just becomes boring.
Really boring. I stopped watching.
Fair enough.
Whoops. 2 and 1 this week, guys.
I just remembered that there's Dragon Balls in this, and we should...
We only get one wish, though, because they're Shinron. Can I make the wish?
I don't know. Are you going to wish that we'd never seen this movie?
I was going to wish it never got made.
I was going to go with a similar thing. I was going to say, I wish that the next time a studio produces a thing like this, it loses money so badly that they don't do it again. Because this is not the only time that this has happened. It's happened with the Avatar movie, and it's happened with various other times that they've made.
Ghost in the Shell lost money.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So yeah, if every time they make I'm going to wish that if any time they make something that's this bad to the source material, it loses money.
Apparently, Taika Waititi has been offered the director's role for Akira, and he's been giving some promising interviews. Like, he wants to have an all Japanese cast. He wants to change as little of the manga as possible. Sounds good. Although we could talk more about how I don't know how that would work. Because, like some things, the movie was being made halfway through the comic being made, and then the ending of the movie and how that was received determined how he decided to end the manga.
Oh, wow.
Because he was directing both, and he was like, I wrote this, but I'm not exactly happy with it, so I'm going to change it. So
he's using it as a testing ground, like a...
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It was just popular.
They call them a focus group.
Yeah.
He was using the movie as an enormous focus group. Oh, they really didn't like that.
So the world's responded.
Better change the manga.
Robert, have you done anything? Have you been watching anything anime?
I have. I've watched without you guys. I've been watching more of Bakano. I keep thinking I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it Bakano or Bakano or you don't know?
I've heard it pronounced
You don't
Bakano.
Bakano. I've been watching Bakano. That's the one that you suggested about the train robbery and stuff. Spoilers, obviously, if you haven't watched it, I'll be talking about it. I'm really enjoying it. It's very much a different tone to Dragon Ball because it's obviously not aimed at kids, I'd hope, because of the amount of pure violence and gore in it. It's ridiculous how much gore there is. There's like a monster on the train. There's a rail tracer they call him, and it's set out to be like a monster, but then we realise it's like a particular guy who's just a psychopath and he kills people on the trains. And one of the ways he does it is he grabs one of the guys, holds him under the train, like he's an acrobat himself, so he's really flexible and stuff. He disappears under the train, and as the guy looks over the top to see if he's there, he like grabs him and pulls him under the train with him, and he's holding him just off of the tracks. and he's like interrogating him. Listen, tell me everything you need. Tell me everything I want to know. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he grabs his hand and he just shoves it down onto the ground, and it just wears away at his hand until it's a bloody stump. And then he grabs him by the back of the head and he pushes his head down. And he's like, right, tell me everything I need to know. And this guy just starts maniacally laughing. He goes into shock or whatever, and so he just like pushes his head into the thing, and his face just rips off.
Wow.
And then he leaves the body for other people to find on the train, and he's just in a mess. And then this other psychopath on the train who's just, he loves killing people and stuff, he comes in and finds his dead buddy with his face missing, and he's like, oh, is this Gary or whatever his name is? And he starts like dancing in his blood, and his blood splatting up all over his white tux, and it's very gory, but it's fun and interesting, and it's very much about immortality. A lot of these guys are immortal, and so after they're brutally murdered, their blood just like sucks back into them, and
it sounds like nothing that I was expecting.
it's very different.
Well, now that we're in spoiler territory, you gotta bury the lead when you recommend stuff so that people are pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, for the most part, with these recommendations, bury the lead as much as possible so that when people watch them, they're surprised. Unless I think the lead is important, like with When They Cry. I was like, people die and then they come back to life, and that's kind of interesting. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's a good time. I finished watching OG-san Loves Marshmallows. And boy, was that a rip-roar of time. 13 episodes 3 minutes each, and it's about an old man working in an office, and he loves marshmallows. And there's a girl who works under him, and she's in love with him, so she keeps trying to tempt him with marshmallows. It's a comedy series, and it's got twists and turns, and it's good.
Cool, nice.
I watched it on my lunch break during the week.
Nice.
There's nothing really else to add. It's like a 6 out of 10. It's fine.
Cool.
But next week, together, we will be watching... We haven't decided what we'll be watching.
Something else.
We were going to watch a movie, though, as like a palate cleanser.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
watching a Ghibli film.
I wanted to recommend Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
So do you want to say that again?
I wanted to recommend Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Do you want to say it again without us laughing at the start of
Nah, that's funny. So... That is Hayao Miyazaki's first Ghibli film, and I haven't seen that one yet. And
cool with that.
It'll hopefully be... I've heard only good things. Everything Hayao Miyazaki does has got nothing but rave reviews.
Everything he touches turns to gold.
Pretty much. So next week we're going to be watching Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and then we'll be looking at another series to start watching, but that's a surprise. So, I mean, until next week, get in touch. You can get in touch with us by going to...
get in touch.
Shut the fuck up. You can do so at KYFCayac@gmail.com. We're at that on Twitter. You can Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. They should come up with a rap. Spotify, Reddit.
Things. We're on SoundCloud.
SoundCloud now. Leave us a review. Write us an email. Tell us if you listen. Tell us if you don't listen. That would be interesting.
How would you have found where to contact us?
Actually, yeah, tell us if you don't listen. Let us know if there's another movie that we should watch. We're going to space out bad movies because there's a lot of bad live-action movies. So get in touch, and until next week, I've been your anime producer, Joel.
I'm your now fired casting director, Robert.
Absolutely.
I'm your anime assistant, Curtis.
Catch us on the next one.